Hey, what's up everybody? So welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about Nikola Motors. Nikola Motors. Nikola Motors. Now, if you don't know what Nikola Motors is they're a hydrogen and electric vehicle making company. Now, their specialty or where they're putting all their energy is into like the pickup trucks and like the big trucks, the tractor trailer trucks that you see on the highways, that ship things. They've also got some things in the works for like things that, you may see used with the military and defense and stuff like that. And I don't know why my collar is acting so funny. Like it just started curling up. All of a sudden, been straight all this time. Now you want to curl up. Anyway, so here's the thing with Nikola Motors. Now, if you've been watching anything about green energy or anything about, just hydrogen or just even electric cars, you know that for years, it has been several years. It's been a long road to even get to this point. What you see with Tesla, it's been so long to really get to the point of where it is now. Now, a lot of people normally don't pay attention to the green energy sector like that because it just does not get, a lot of, media. But as of now, it starts to based off of, one company in particular, Tesla. So people know Tesla as like the front runner when it concerns, energy efficient vehicles, which is what we call green energy. So now Nikola Motors actually went public, back in the beginning of this month. Now they were actually underneath another name prior to that. But what happened is once they went public, their stock literally doubled. I mean, and it even tripled. So for some people that had the stock and they had it at like about $30 a share, the price got all the way up to like $90 a share. So some of the people that I know that also invested in it, they sold once it got to $90 a share. Some people, they're shorting this stock, they're playing the market with this stock. And one of the reasons is because there is a ton of uncertainty with Nikola Motors. Now, because there's so many different things that you're looking for and so much information that you want to see. So for example, I've been trying to find out like, is there a down payment or is there not a down payment if you want to pre-order their vehicles? Well, I haven't really been able to find any information on that. I've been able to find some where it says, that there isn't no down payment. Now, I hope they're not actually taking pre-orders for vehicles without any type of monetary contribution, because then what that means is that they're possibly building vehicles that there's no money attached to it to where the vehicle can be built, and then what if the person doesn't want it? I mean, it's just a lot of different gray areas, and that can be expected with companies that are kind of in the early stage like they are. Now, are they a competitor to Tesla? Not necessarily, because they're not necessarily trying to build what Tesla is building. They're kind of strictly focusing on the truck sector. And I know of so many other companies that are out there that don't really necessarily have a name right now that are also focusing in those areas. So the green energy sector and the way we are driving our vehicles, it's definitely a area where a lot of people, a lot of inventors, a lot of companies that's been working on green energy for a long time to really get their things going, to get the funding in particular, because funding for that stuff is not easy to come by. Because what happens is a lot of these things are just theories and just a whole bunch of talk, and so you don't really know what's going on. So there you have Nikola Motors, where it's kind of like a lot of theory. You don't know. So it could be something to where it becomes one of those companies that are just massive and they've taken over, the shipping industry just by way of those trucks and what they can produce, especially with the hydrogen cell model. But in the same instance, when you don't know a whole lot about a company and what they're really trying to do, not because you're not researching it, but because it's not necessarily like a whole lot of straight information about it, it starts to make people worried. So a lot of people are calling Nikola Motors like, the Thanos, if you know anything about that company. But a lot of people are, kind of suspecting fraud or just kind of tired of hearing the hype. And what they want to see is concrete information. So if you were to invest in Nikola Motors, for example, you're pretty much taking a chance. Now, because it's just so much uncertainty. So is it buy, sell, or hold? I mean, It's at your own risk, in my opinion. That's what the answer is. It's a at your risk, in my opinion. There's not a buy it or a hold it or a sell it. It's more of a at your risk, because you really don't know how it may shift, especially when you don't have the type of information you really would want to like do research on a company. Now, for me, I love the green energy sector, so I pay attention to a lot of these things closely because there's so many different companies out there trying to produce. Like at one point, I had like almost 10,000 shares of this company that, I mean, they were getting stuff done and produced, but they just never got anywhere, and those 10,000 shares never grew, they never went down, it just stayed the same. And I mean, so there's so much craziness, going on with the energy sector. So you definitely have to, do your research and pay attention, because like I said, it's one thing to have things produced, but then you also have the other issues or other things of concern that you need to start to think about with concerns. Okay, great. So how are things going to be charged? How is this supposed to happen? What if I need maintenance? What do I do? So, for example, Tesla has kind of figured those things out for the most part, and it's grown. So people are more comfortable with getting Teslas because they know where there's charging stations. Or like one of my neighbors, he has his charging station at home. So the accessibility to do what you need to do with those vehicles have become a lot easier. So when you don't know and these vehicles are created, it's like, so what's it going to cost to be able to put in some type of charging, station? Or what is it going to cost to do this? Or what is it going to cost to do that? Or how can we do that? Who do I take it to if it needs to be maintenance? And I live like somewhere up in Maine, where there's, no Nikola, support. What do I do? Like, so there's a lot of questions to answer when it concerns this. So a lot of people have just been playing, like trading it, buying it, dumping it, or betting against it going up or betting against it going down and things like that. But as an investment, is it something that you should invest in? Like I said, it's more of a at your own risk type of thing. So if you want to invest in it, make sure you put money in it that you don't, you're not looking to get back. Make sure you put money in it that you're not afraid of losing if you're going to invest in it, because you really don't know. Now, if you're selling it, hey, do your thing or whatnot. But it's kind of one of those things where we're kind of waiting to see what happens. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. So the reason why it's been kind of a big talk is because people are like looking for that next Amazon where it's like $50 a share and then all of a sudden it's $2,000 a share. See, there's so much uncertainty in it, because back like 10, 15 years ago, Amazon, nobody knew Amazon was going to be what it was. It was selling books. It's like eBay. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, it's going to be this huge dominant company. You didn't really know. Just like Netflix was, they were mailing DVDs to your house and then you would mail it back. So I'm sure, they lost a lot of money doing that, because I'm sure a lot of DVDs came in damaged. So it was like a couple dollars a share, but you didn't know, you wasn't paying attention to the fact that the digital era would take what it is and streaming would do like it is, and now look at Netflix. So the reason why a lot of people are paying attention to companies like Nikola Motors is because they want to be able to get in on it and it have that run just like they seen Amazon doing, or even Tesla, when Tesla wasn't but a couple dollars a share, $20 a share, and then all of a sudden now look at Tesla, it's pretty much almost $1,000 a share, hovering around $1,000 a share. So a lot of people are looking for that, and they're looking at Nikola as one of the companies that may give them that wealth that they've been looking for. So there's a ton of uncertainty. Now, one of the things I believe in is don't invest in anything unless you know what it is. Don't invest in anything blindly. And you have a lot of people putting money into Nikola Motors now blindly. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying learn and understand where it is, so then you know exactly where your money is going. Because there's a lot that we just don't know with Nikola Motors. Like, how many of you have seen their trucks drive on the road? You haven't. So because you can't see the tangible, it doesn't mean that it's a bad investment. It's just so much unknown. And then you don't want to end up putting your money into something where, they overpromise everything and underdeliver everything. So you want your money to go into places where they may underpromise and overdeliver, right? That means that they do more than expected. So with Nikola Motors, I don't know if it's a buy, sell, or hold. Like I said, it's at your risk. So if you're going to put money into it, just understand that it has potential of doing great things, but it definitely has potential of being up high, down low, up high, down low, because there's so many things going on with it. And then there's even reports that they've been lying about some of their specs and different things like that. So Nikola Motors is kind of like, you know, it could be a unicorn, or, you know, it could be, you know, a wolf in sheep clothing. We don't know. But, you know, that's my take on it. So if you're going to invest, like I said, invest money that you don't mind losing, just in case you don't know what happens. However, we would pray for the best, that, you know, you invest money in it, the company does what it says it's going to do, and it goes, you know, global, it blows up, and things are sustainable. Because there's going to be more companies coming behind this that are now getting more into the technology, especially with the vehicles. Because that's a huge shift and a huge wave that is coming down the pipe with our vehicles. So you're going to see a lot more of that starting to come into play, especially with the hydrogen cell. It's been in the works for so long. Anyways, guys, y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the next video. You be safe.